excerpt from The Quantum Mechanic, which won On the Premises honorable mention. I'm reading this piece in honor of New Zone Art Gallery's steampunk event that's happening. They have an art show that's steampunk themed, and next Friday and Saturday they have a steampunk party, which I'm helping organize, and a steampunk fashion show. If you enjoy the story, you can find the complete version on www.sarinadorie.com, or you can hear more of it on Friday night at the steampunk event. This is an excerpt from Scene 2. Marian's head swam, the room spinning in a blur. She could barely breathe. Putting a hand to her ribs, she realized that constraining sensation was a corset under her dress. She blinked and refocused her vision on a screwdriver in her hand. Why was she holding a screwdriver? And why was she wearing goggles on her head instead of her flashlight headband? Marian turned her head over her shoulder, studying the steam fusion generator that filled half the laboratory. The twisted jumble of wires disappeared into the heat chamber, and the mass of tubes and valves connecting the steam exchange systems looked off. Instead of buttons, there were levers and knobs. The screens were blank, and there were gears. It didn't look like Dr. Malachlor had even turned it on. Although there was a familiarity to this machine, it also possessed a certain foreignness she couldn't put her finger on. Why did everything feel off? She noticed the sticky heap of apples and pie crusts spilled over the controls. She had a suspicion this might be one of Vanna's accidents. Dr. Malachlor sat at his computer, silver spectacles on his hawk nose, as he squinted at the punches he made to his Babbage cards. Oddly, steam rose from the top of his computer. "Where's my sister?" Marian asked. Dr. Malachlor didn't look up. "What sister?" She rolled her eyes. She replaced the screwdriver in her toolbox and ducked under an arm of the generator to get the paper towels from the corner by the sink. The gas lights flickered, and the sound of a pop and breaking glass came from the other side of the wall. 3 confident knocks rapped at the door. Without waiting for an answer, a man peeked his head inside. Though salt and pepper hair speckled his temples and crow's feet crinkled the corners of his eyes, he would have deserved the Mr. Eye Candy label Marian's sister bestowed on good-looking men. The man's gaze was glued to a flat device with knobs he held in his hand. That should take care of that. He twisted one of the buttons and then tucked the screen into a pocket of his denim overalls, not so different from Marian's own. Well, not like Marian's own, but what she imagined her fitted bodice should look like. He patted his pocket. "I'm here to fix a space-time continuum for Dr. Victor Malachlor." Marian glanced at the open toolbox he carried, filled with screwdrivers and wrenches, as well as some futuristic-looking devices. His name tag read Bob. She reached for paper towels, but instead found a pile of folded rags. Having no other options, she grabbed one and squeezed it in the machine to clean up the spill. "I didn't call for a mechanic or a physicist," Dr. Malachlor said. "No, the you in this dimension didn't, but another you did. Your experiments are interfering with another dimension's time." Bob checked off something on his clipboard and shoved it into the side of his toolbox before stepping past Dr. Malachlor. "A quantum mechanic." Marian glanced at the steam fusion machine. Could it be that it wasn't her? Reality was malfunctioning? Pi was still 3.2, right? "Oh, no, you don't. This is a secret laboratory." Her employer stretched out his arms to block Bob from going farther, but the man stepped forward anyway, pushing Dr. Malachlor back. Marian sighed. If Dr. Malachlor had paid for one of those more state-of-the-art underground secret laboratories, or at least hired a receptionist to guard the entrance, it was far more likely his laboratory and experiments would have stayed secret. The stranger halted at the sight of Marian wiping chunks of apple from the controls. "Marian?" he asked. The intensity of his gaze unsettled her. Something about his face was familiar. He reminded her of that cute guy she sometimes saw eating at the hot dog stand down the street. Although she was fairly certain that man was younger and had longer hair. She glanced at Dr. Malachlor, who had rushed back to his computer to turn off the screen. "Do I know you?" she asked. "Not yet, but you will." He dropped his box of tools and swept her into his arms. He kissed her with such tenderness, Marian suspected she wanted to know him in the future. Still, it was the present that was important. She pushed him back. "Excuse me, Bob. I don't know what you think." His blue eyes turned mournful. "I'm sorry, Marian. I haven't been able to do that since, well, the you in my time had a heart condition, and we didn't know it." Tears filled his eyes. He cleared his throat and stepped back.